Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the bishops and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well through the scriptures. Peace to the 144,000 and the rest of the hopeful elect. I am the brother Kaya from GMSC Indianapolis, the branch of Indiana. The original Gary campus, GMS will not tarry too. And this will basically be a response to this video on screen. Lincoln Hellenization with surgical body enhancements today, Greco-Roman influence. And Hellenization was basically the spreading of Greek customs, ideas, and cultures. And not only was you just spreading it, right, you was imposing it, all right? So the people you come into contact with was to leave their laws and to join yours. Matter of fact, we'll grab that. Let's see. First Maccabees 1. Let's see, 46 maybe. Uh 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, e pluribus unum, out of many one. It's on the back of the dollar. And everyone, see, that's Greco-Roman, all right, ideals right there. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they shall follow the strange laws of the land and forbid. So basically, get rid of your culture and adopt this one. All right. Put on what the scripture calls strange apparel, because we're supposed to be clothed in righteousness. The culture that the Most High gave us, the statutes, laws, and commandments, the do's and don'ts in society, how you interact with nature and creation is a culture, right? Which is righteousness. All right. Garments of righteousness. What the Lord gave us represents garments of righteousness. All right. And these strange laws that these heathens want you to obey, and also customs that they want you to practice in, right? So where if you don't practice in it, then you're looked at as weird, right? That's strange apparel. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. So to pollute you, all right? All that plastic surgeries, hey, I don't know nobody that look good from the shit. And then you constantly got to keep getting it. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable, make your souls disgusting. All right. And these people, our people walking around are look disgusting, man. In appearance, in practice. All right. With all manner of uncleanness and profanation, all manner, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances, right? All right, so let's play this video.
To add in there, because I remember seeing this a long time ago, not the rant, but it was tying the BBLs to some like a butt guy, right? And it went back to Greek. But here's some stuff I found, right? So it's called the Venus of Callipyge. It says this Roman statue, thought to be a copy of an older Greek original, literally translates to Venus of the beautiful buttocks. It depicts a woman, either an Aphrodite or a mortal, raising her robe to reveal her backside. This statue reflects an appreciation for the shapely posterior in ancient Greek and Roman culture. Come on,
See,
man.
that's exactly what we just read.
See, there's nothing new under the sun. See, uh, uh, let me see. Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us, see? And the difference is, see, there's nothing new under the sun, but now you have the most wicked of all the earth in charge. And what helps him is his left hand energy, all right? The technology, his mastery of psychology and manipulation, all right? So now now all these wicked practices are in even greater force, all right? Let me see, grab another scripture. Isaiah 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Who? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? All these different charms and talismans and enchantments to do what? To the end that we will forget. All right? Because this is his goal. I'll read that last verse again. First Maccabees 1 and all right. 49. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. That's his purpose. To keep us as separate from the Most High as possible. For thou hast trust, because that's how part of their wicked philosophy on what can keep them in power, right? Keep them ruling. Like the scripture says, what's that? Jeremiah, just grab that real quick. Jeremiah 50:7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. So they devour us, and they feel it's justified because we're not acting as Israelites. But here it is, they're putting stumbling blocks before us not to act like Israelites. All right? That's why the scripture says what? In Habakkuk, woe to him that give his neighbor the bottle to drink, that he may look on his nakedness. That's what he does to us. Through the curses, we go to him for the one of all things. And all of those things that we need, he turned to evil to keep us accursed in the sight of the Lord. All right, your education system is poisoned, your food system is poisoned, the clothes system, everything keeps you backwards from the proper righteous intention that the Lord made. One more. Judith 5:19. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. Right? But if there be no, so that's why you have the scripture says what? The accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before the Most High day and night. But this the thing. You put the stumbling blocks there. All right. You beat the culture and heritage out of the Israelites. All right. You beat what you thought your mind was to beat, to sever the connection that we had with the Most High. All right. And with the knowledge of the scriptures. and put your image there and put your culture there. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. See, in Esau, you know, you got knowledge, you're privy to this information, okay? Hey, like Apostle Gabar say all the time, to tell a good lie, you have to know the truth. So Isaiah 47:10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it have perverted thee, right? And it's been working for you. It's been working for you so well because you've mastered it, all right? You've mastered, you've read the text from all these different nations, studied them, all right? You want all the power, all the left-hand power. And it's elevated to where you're at now. And so now the scripture says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. You think anything you set your mind to do is possible. It says, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. See? So back on topic real quick. So I typed in, is modern plastic surgery rooted in Greco-Roman ideals? All right. It says roots of plastic surgery and its relation to Greco-Roman ideals. While the origins of modern plastic surgery can be traced back to ancient civilizations, including India and Egypt, the influence of Greco-Roman ideals, particularly in terms of aesthetics and the human form, played a significant role in its development. And Alexander the Greek, he copied a lot from the Egyptians and the Indians and the Persians, all right? Copied a great deal, a lot from those peoples. Philosophical foundation. The term plastic and plastic surgery is derived from Greek word plastikos, meaning to mold or shape, highlighting the core principle of reshaping and reconstructing body parts. And Esau Edom just a butcher. Now, there's, side note, there's exercises and there's things a woman can do naturally to shape her body, okay? And you only, everybody, we all got frames, all right? The Lord all made us individuals, man. So, like some dudes want to be big, all right? You only could be so big, all right? You only could be so small. You ever get some people, they lose too much weight, they look funny, like you weren't meant to look like that, all right? And you try to enhance naturally what's your specified potential. Emphasis on ideal forms. The Greco-Romans held a strong belief in the importance of physical appearance and linked it to inner character and morality. They got a word for that too. Yeah, even today, people are more inclined to believe beautiful people and stuff like that. They do their little studies or whatever, but they got a word for that. I might remember, I might not. Okay, it says linked it to inner character and morality, viewing a balanced physique as reflective of a balanced individual. Greek artists and thinkers in particular emphasized the concept of eusarchos, well-fleshed or fleshy, and moderation in all things. Early reconstructed techniques, Greek physicians like Hippocrates and Galen made significant contributions to the field by focusing on repairing facial injuries and performing skin grafts. Roman medical texts, such as those by Celsus, detailed methods for repairing ears, lips, and noses, laying groundwork for future advancements. See, that was the groundwork. All right. Emphasis on normalcy. Early reconstructive procedures aimed at restoring damaged body parts to a normal condition, reflecting the desire to adhere to an idealized human form. All right. Ancient India was a pioneer in reconstructive techniques, with Sushruta describing methods like the forehead flap for nasal reconstruction around 600 BC, according to www.brazilianbuttlift.com. See, yeah, and well, them Indians, they always got some type of deformity over there, so it makes sense to an extent. Ancient Egyptian texts also documented early forms of cosmetic and reconstructive surgery, including breast augmentation and facial reconstructions. See, there go your breast augmentation. During the Middle Ages, the development, check this out. During the Middle Ages, the development of plastic surgery stagnated due to various factors, including societal and religious views. Now, why is that? Because who was ruling during the Middle Ages? So-called dark people, Israelites, all right? That's why that stuff declined. The Renaissance period saw a renewed interest in anatomy and reconstructive surgery, with advances made by figures like Ambrose Perry. Now, what do Renaissance mean? The rebirth. The rebirth of who? Esau, Edom, power, all right? Modern plastic surgery as a distinct field emerged in the 19th and 20th centuries, driven by advancement in techniques, instrumentation, and the needs arising from conflicts like the World Wars, especially World War I. In conclusion, while plastic surgery has a global and multifaceted history, the philosophical and artistic ideals of the Greco-Roman period, see, we went past necessity, now we're dealing with philosophy and art. Particularly the focus on the ideal human form and the pursuit of normalcy significantly contributed to its evolution and remain an underlying principle even in modern practices. Right, and they ask women, why do they get the BBLs? Because the new thing is that the BBL is what attracts a high-value man. No matter what you tell them, but that's what they see. What do they see? So-called whites been doing it for a while, all right? They get the Botox, they get the lip injections, they get the breast augmentations, right? And then you would Kim Kardashian, Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj, you had other pride, and they spoke about it in that video, the Kim Kardashian. And so you got a lot of so-called white women and women of other races want to fit the look to get the so-called wealthy black basketball players and rappers or whatever. So with that, let me get this scripture. So now this is where we at. 1 Maccabees 1:26. So that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. The beauty of women was changed. So I typed in Grok, how was the beauty of women changed during the Hellenistic period? The Hellenistic period, 323 to 31 BCE, following Alexander the Great's death, marked a shift in how female beauty was perceived and represented in Greek art and culture, influenced by cultural exchange, individualism, and evolving artistic styles. Here's a concise overview of the changes. 1. Shift toward realism and individualism. Pre-Hellenistic classical beauty in the classical period, 5th to 4th century BCE, female beauty was idealized, emphasizing symmetry, proportion, and a serene, almost divine aesthetic. All right, let's look up serene real quick. I think it means calm. Yeah, calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Okay? A calm and peaceful look. All right? As seen in sculptures like the Aphrodite of Knidos by Praxiteles, women were often depicted as modest and idealized. Hellenistic transformation. Hellenistic art embraced greater realism and emotional expression. Express yourself. See? And you walk outside today, a woman liable to look like anything. A woman can look like a man and be quote unquote heterosexual. All right? You liable to see a woman look like anything. It don't matter what age either, 50, 60, 70. They doing what the young women are doing. Right? Expression. Sculptures of women such as the Aphrodite of Milos, Venus de Milo, showcased more naturalistic body proportions, dynamic poses, and individualized features. Beauty became less about idealized perfection and more about capturing personality, sensuality, and human emotion. All right? And when you look up sensual, sometimes it means open-minded. Let me see. That's why there's no checks and balances. That's good. James 3:15. This wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. All right? Sukikos. Okay, I'm gonna read the point. The principle of animal life which men have in common with the brutes, the sensuous nature with this subjection to appetite and passion. Yeah, you just expressing yourself. One day you feel like a nut, another day you don't. Okay. Sensual. I thought I looked it up before and it said open-minded. Just look up devilish. Resembling or proceeding from an evil spirit, demon-like. Well, Esau the devil. Let me see. Let me look up sensual again. And let's look up in this case. These be they who separate themselves sensual, having not the spirit. Same word. Okay. Well, back to where we was at. Back to your regular scheduled programming. All right. Increased sensuality and nudity. The Hellenistic period saw a bolder approach to depicting female nudity, reflecting a growing appreciation for sensuous beauty. And that's what you see. You're seeing more and more and more of scantily clad women. And what that does is that desensitizes the male brain. It desensitizes the male brain to not see women as something to protect and something that's of the weaker nature. Okay, it just sees you as a sexual object. All right. That's why there's a small portion of women, when you see them in public and they dressed a certain way, it affects a different emotion in you. All right. It commands a certain level of respect when a woman is in public and she's covered, right? And she doesn't walk with a proud look. She doesn't have a bold appearance, staring you all in your face, looking you in your eyes. Those women get different attention. All right. Other women, you either get the wrong attention or no attention at all. And you wearing skin tight clothes and revealing clothes, and you got all this stuff going on with your hair and your face. The Hellenistic period saw a bolder approach to depict the female nudity, reflecting a growing appreciation for sensuous beauty. Statues like the crouching Aphrodite or the sleeping Maenad emphasized curves, softness, and vulnerability, contrasting with the more restrained classical depictions. Drapery and sculptures became more elaborate and translucent, accentuating the female form while maintaining an artistic balance between modesty and allure. Alexander's conquest exposed Greek culture to Persian, Egyptian, and other Near Eastern influences, diversifying beauty standards. Yeah, he loved them Persians. For example, depictions of women in art began incorporating exotic elements such as elaborate jewelry, hairstyles, and clothing inspired by Eastern cultures. Goddesses like Isis, adopted from Egyptian culture, were often portrayed with a blend of Greek and foreign features, reflecting a cosmopolitan ideal of beauty. So you got women pulling from everywhere. It's just it's a melting pot. They pulling from everywhere. All right. Let me see. This is why Paul said this through the Spirit. Oh, Peter, pardon me. 1 Peter 3:1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Another thing that was going on in the Greco-Roman world, women wasn't subject to their husbands, all right? Women held a great deal of autonomy, all right? Especially during the decline of the Roman Empire, all right? Women could divorce, all right, own land, property, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing gold or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High of great price. Right. So let's read that. I'm gonna read verse 3 in the NLT. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. And those hairstyles be expensive. $200, $300, $400 for a hairstyle that you only gonna keep up for a week. All right. These women constantly buying clothes. Don't stop buying clothes. They buying expensive clothes and cheap clothes. They got red bottoms, Chanel bags, and they got polyester from Shein. See? It says, Hellenistic art began depicting women in a wider variety of roles beyond goddesses or idealized figures such as queens, courtesans, and everyday women. Portraits of Hellenistic queens like Arsinoe II showed them as powerful and divine, blending beauty with authority. Masculinity, femininity, feminism. Genre scenes like those of women in domestic or intimate settings highlighted a more relatable, humanized beauty compared to the divine focus of earlier periods. Let me see. I'm just going to read a little bit more. Social context and beauty standards. The Hellenistic period saw increased visibility of women in public life, especially among the elite in cities like Alexandria and Antioch. This influenced artistic depictions with beauty often tied to status, wealth, and cosmopolitan sophistication. Right. Keeping up with cosmopolitan sophistication, keeping up with trends. All right. Keeping up with trends. It's all the rave in Paris. Okay. Literary sources like Hellenistic poetry celebrated female beauty in more personal and romantic terms, focusing on individuality, charm, and intellect alongside physical attributes. I'm about to jump down. Okay. How were the female beauty standards of the Jews affected by Hellenization? The Hellenization of Jewish culture, particularly during the Hellenistic period, 323 to 31 BCE, introduced significant Greek influences to Jewish society, Israelite society, especially in urban centers like Jerusalem and Alexandria. This cultural interaction, spurred by Alexander the Great's conquest and the subsequent rule of the Seleucid and Ptolemaic dynasties, the Seleucids, right? Maccabees, we was reading, Antiochus, he was of the Seleucid Empire, of the Seleucid dynasty, affected Israelite perceptions and representations of female beauty. Though the impact varied by region, social class, and religious adherence, because there were some who didn't forsake the law. All right. Matthias and his sons after him, Judah, Maccabees, Jonathan, all right, and the Assyrians, all right, and all those who was like-minded as they were. Below is a concise analysis of how Hellenization influenced Israelite female beauty standards. Pre-Hellenistic Israelite beauty standards, traditional Israelite beauty standards rooted in biblical text, emphasize modesty. We just read that in Peter. Inner virtue and physical attributes like health and fertility. For example, descriptions in the Song of Songs praises features like dark hair, bright eyes, and a healthy complexion, often tied to moral and spiritual qualities. And I think that term is called physiognomy or something like that. When your physical attributes. Physiognomy is the practice of assessing a person's character or personality traits based on their outward appearance, particularly their facial features. Right. And that's not true. But I was thinking of that word earlier, but that was something that Esau Edom believed in. Okay. But we know the scripture said in 1 Samuel 16 and 14, look not on his outward appearance. All right. Man judged the outward appearance, but the Lord judged the heart. All right. The spirit inside. It says, Hellenistic influence, Greek ideals of beauty focused on symmetry, proportion, and physical allure began to infiltrate Israelite urban elites. In Hellenistic Israelite communities, especially in Alexandria, women's beauty was increasingly depicted with Greek-inspired features such as idealized facial proportions and elaborate hairstyles. We read that in Peter, as seen in Greco-Israelite art and coinage. Right, and what do you got our people doing now? They bleaching the skin, lightening the skin. They wearing the blonde hair, the long, straight hair. Okay? Adoption of Greek fashion and adornment. Hellenization introduced Greek styles of clothing, jewelry, and cosmetics to Israelite women, particularly among the upper classes, right? And that's how it be. You know, even now, when you rub elbows in spaces with the upper elites, you dress a certain way. You know, all the heathens do. Very rare you see Arabs and the wealthy elite Arabs, especially if they're in an American space or a European space, they're gonna dress accordingly. All right. Same way you see Jake. It says, in cities under Hellenistic influence, women adopted elaborate dresses draped in the Greek chiton or Himation style and used jewelry inspired by Greek and Eastern designs, such as gold earrings and necklaces. Right. Let me see. Let me grab another scripture. Let me see. Is it Greekish fashion? Let me see. Let me see. There's a scripture which speaks about they likened the ways of the heathen best. I might be let me see. Let me see if I can find it on Google. So I find it like that. I know it's in the Apocrypha. Let's see. First Maccabees 1:13. That's not it. Maybe it is. Hold on. Okay, this will work though. Starting at 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license, permission, to do after the ordinance of the heathen. All right. It says, whereupon they built the place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. What? The practices, do the things that they do. There used to be a distinction when I was coming up in the early 90s. All right. Mid 90s to early 2000s. There was a, oh, that's white people stuff. That was still around, so-called white people. That was, now it's not, there's no really real distinction for real. I'm just going to type in best because I'm pretty sure it say best. Yeah, this is it. I found the Wadi Habashim shot. Here it go. 2 Maccabees 4. And damn, this is okay. Start at 13. Now, such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest. So we at the, even now, our people are at the height of heathen practices and heathen customs and manners. I remember when I was younger, a man wouldn't have dreamed of dyeing his hair. The only people I knew who dyed their hair was old men who were going gray, and that was rare. And I had a cousin, an older cousin, he was born with blonde hair. He was a Jake. He was born with blonde hair, and he didn't like it, and he would dye his hair black. So men weren't dyeing their hair, okay? Men wasn't dressing like Edomites, man. The little skateboard. And Jake probably made all that stuff up, but nevertheless, there was, still a clear line of separation between how Esau dressed and how Jake dressed. What Esau did and what Jake did. Jake went into cuckolding and swinging. That was an Edomite thing. If Jake did it, it was few far in between, and you ain't hear about it. Now it's open. They talk about it on podcasts. All right? That the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth. Not setting not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. And that's what our people have done. And juxtaposing into the beauty of women being changed. You can tell it don't matter what a so-called black man say, so-called Puerto Rican man say. They gonna wear that blonde hair. They gonna wear them lashes. They gonna wear that makeup. They gonna get that BBL. They gonna take that Ozempic. Because they like the Grecian, glory. Who are the Greeks? So-called white people. They like the Edomite, standards of beauty best of all. So with that, Lord's will, this was an edifying lesson to the hopeful elect. All praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKodash.